So yesterday we were talking about rate of thermal radiation, and for a normal substance we had taken this as its formula. That means it is the same formula as that of black body, whereas in which case the rate at which thermal radiation takes place per unit time is directly proportional to area and directly proportional to the fourth power of temperature. So we got this equation. What we have done here is we have added E here, for which we are going to take values greater than 0 or equal to 0 but less than 1. So if it is less than 1, then this number will be reduced. Now if we take ratio of these two equations, let us call this equation number 1 and equation number 2, then we can define what is this E, or emissivity, or it is also called as emissive power. So let us take division of equation number 2 by equation number 1. If we divide this, it will be EA sigma T raised to 4 divided by sigma A T raised to 4. This all terms will get cancelled. On other side we will have dq by dt of the substance divided by dq by dt of black body. This will be of black body. So these terms will get cancelled. We will remove these terms and we will get an equation for E. So what is E? Emissive power or emissivity. Emissive power or emissivity is defined as ratio of rate at which thermal radiation takes place from that substance divided by rate at which thermal radiation takes place through a black body, provided that they are maintained at same conditions. That means they are maintained at same temperature, pressure and all other physical conditions. Okay, so here we get the definition or the equation for emissivity. The next thing that we are going to learn is Kirchhoff's law, which is a very simple law, but we need to understand it. So next is Kirchhoff's law of radiation. So what is this Kirchhoff's law of radiation? Okay, what does this Kirchhoff's law of radiation tell you? Okay, try to understand. It tells you that any substance which is a good absorber of thermal radiation will also be a good emitter of thermal radiation. A good absorber is a good emitter of thermal radiation. Now to understand this, let us take example of two bodies. Let us say this is object number 1 and this is object number 2. Okay, object number 2 I have drawn with a slightly bigger surface. Now suppose we incident thermal radiations on both of these objects. When thermal radiation is incident on both of these objects, they are going to absorb this thermal radiation. Let us show them by dots. Here less thermal radiation will be absorbed. Here more thermal radiation will be absorbed, because it is a different substance, or we can just assume it is having more surface area. Now when this absorption takes place, we have to also understand that both these are in thermal equilibrium. Both are in thermal equilibrium. Now what is meaning of thermal equilibrium is both of them, their temperatures remains same. The temperature is not going to change. If temperature is not going to change and they are absorbing heat energy, then what has to happen? The thing that has to happen is whatever they have absorbed, whatever thermal radiation that they have absorbed also has to be emitted. Whatever thermal radiation they have absorbed also has to be emitted. All this thermal radiation will be emitted by this body, and all this thermal radiation will be emitted by body number 1. What does it mean is that the emission of thermal radiation will be equal to absorption of thermal radiation, provided that they are in thermal equilibrium. Provided they are in thermal equilibrium. Other way to write this is E by A is equal to 1, and E by A is equal to, let us say, capital E, where capital E is the emissive power of black body. Is emissive power of black body, because emissive power as well as absorptive power of a black body is 1. So this is the Kirchhoff's law. It is a very simple law. It tells you that the emissive power will be always equal to the absorptive power, provided that the substance is in thermal equilibrium. Or we can say if the substance is in thermal equilibrium, the emissive power and the absorptive power will be equal. Now the next thing that we will try to understand is the derivation of Stephen's-Boltzmann law. Derivation of Stephen's-Boltzmann law. Okay, now this is a big derivation, so I have divided it into 3 parts. Okay, what are these parts? Try to understand. So you will be having a link to the total derivation. There will be first part in which we will try to establish relation between pressure and energy density. Pressure and energy density. Energy density means energy per unit volume. Okay, what is this equation that will derive at the end of this part? First is pressure is equal to 1/3 E, that is energy density. The part 2, in part 2 what we will do is we will use this equation and we will apply it to the first law of thermodynamics. We will apply this result to the first law of thermodynamics. And in the part 3, we will be using Maxwell's equation number 2 to finally prove that E is directly proportional to the 4th power of temperature. So these are the 3 parts and we will be doing this derivation. Okay, so part 1. Okay, we will be deriving pressure is equal to 1/3 E, or we will be establishing relation between pressure and energy. Now try to understand, we are talking about light particles or we are talking about photons, and we are going to assume that these photons behave like gas particles. These photons behave like gas particles. So we can put them in a cylinder with a piston, and if these light particles are incident on this piston, they will exert some pressure. This piston will move and there will be change in internal energy of that substance or the gas which is inside. So we are going to assume photons like gases so that we are able to derive relations. Now this equation we are going to use E is equal to mc square. This equation all of you know. Another equation for photon is E is equal to h into f, where h is the Planck's constant and f is the frequency of that radiation. This equation you must have learned in the photoelectric effect. So what we are doing? So these two equations we can say mc square is equal to HF and MC is equal to HF divided by C. Now what is this MC? This is mass into velocity of the photon. That means it is momentum. It is momentum of the photon, and we can write momentum of photon is HF divided by C. Momentum of that photon is HF divided by C. Now, once we know the momentum, now we can find relation that we are looking for between pressure and energy density. Now, we know that pressure is force divided by area. We know force is rate of change of momentum. Force is rate of change of momentum. So we can write, if there are, or first we can write that pressure is equal to, this is rate of change of momentum, this is momentum. We can write pressure is equal to HF divided by C. If we assume that the piston is having unit area at the time is 1 second, then the pressure will be equal to momentum, or the change in momentum of that piston. Now, if there are n such photons, then the pressure will be equal to NHF divided by C. The pressure imparted by this radiation will be NHF divided by C. Now, this we got the equation for the pressure in terms of energy. Now, we also know that work is equal to P into V. We can generally write pressure is work is equal to P into V. And work means only energy. Work means only, we can say it is energy. And work divided by volume is pressure. That means pressure is equal to energy density. Pressure is equal to energy density. So from here and here, what we can finally write is pressure is equal to HF NHF divided by C, which is also equal to energy density. This is equal to energy density. Now, we will have to look at the assumption that we made. We assume that photons are behaving like gas particles. If photons are behaving like gas particles, there is some difference between photons and gas particles. If photons, there is a beam of photons, all the photons are traveling in same direction, then this equation is right. This is equation for photon beam, or the photons traveling in same direction. But if the photons are traveling in random direction, then what will happen is the pressure will be equally distributed along this x, y and z axis. There will be equal distribution of pressure along x, y and z axis. Therefore, the pressure which we have derived as equal to energy density, where E stands for energy density, that means energy per unit volume. That means pressure will be divided into three parts, three equal parts. Therefore, pressure is 1/3 of E. Pressure is 1/3 of E for photons which are in random direction. This is for photons in same direction, that is the beam of photons. This is for photons in random direction.